Hello, everyone. You're listening to the Small Business Show. My name is Swire Ho. You can also call me the promo guy. My guest today is Ann Carden from Ann Carden Coaching and Consulting. Ann has more than 43 years of business, marketing, and sales experience with over 32 years as an entrepreneur. She has built seven successful businesses, selling five of them, and is currently owner of two. She has been coaching consulting for the past 13 years and have worked with several hundred small business owners, consultants, coaches, and professional entrepreneurs in over 60 different types of businesses to further their success. Welcome to the show, Ann.
Thank you, Swire. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to our conversation. But before we start, can you tell listener a little bit more about your journey? It's really mind-boggling to, read your bio that you have started seven businesses. Tell us something more about that.
Absolutely. So I left my corporate career about, let's see, in 1991, I believe, when we made a move. And I wanted to raise my kids, wanted to stay home and be a mom. But it wasn't very long. We discovered the math really didn't work. And my husband's paycheck just wasn't enough. And we were really struggling financially. So I started my first business with a box of stuff worth about $15 and started a global doll business. So that business started making craft dolls, and they were all my own designs. That's a whole long story, but I employed several people. I was basically running a manufacturing company out of my home, and I was shipping my dolls all over the world, and I was in stores all across America. So that was the first business. And then after about 7 years, I saw the market changing. There was a big shift. And so I sold out and I started my second business, which was a fitness business, teaching classes in a community hall, fitness classes. I mean, that was literally all I was doing, and I was charging people membership fees, but it was in a village, in a small village. In the Midwest, we have small towns that are called villages. And it was such a small group of people. I quickly realized, okay, I'm going to have to do something different here if this is really going to be a viable business. Long story short, I built two health clubs, two weight loss centers, and the craft doll business, and I sold all of those. And today I own two. I own my marketing and media agency, my Expert in You agency, and I own my coaching and consulting business.
Thanks for sharing, and I wonder how you find all that time to to work on all the business of yours.
Well, I believe in a very simplified, streamlined business. And that's the same thing that I teach people, because I believe in a business that gives you freedom and gives you the life that you want. It's not just about making a lot of money and being successful. It's also to not have everything else fall apart around you. So, I've been married. We're going on our 43-year
Wow.
anniversary this year. I have two great kids. I have four grandkids. I have a strong faith, and lots of friends. And I just believe that you need to be well-rounded if you're going to be successful in business and love your life as well.
Well, I think that's really a model. Like you had it as good as it can be.
Well, it hasn't been easy. I don't want to make it sound like it's been an easy road. There's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but they're just things that I have figured out along the way. And one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about helping people in business have more success, have a simpler business, be able to enjoy not just the wealth that their business can give them, but also the life that their business can give them. I'm so passionate about it because I made a lot of mistakes in business, and I did things the hard way because for a lot of years I didn't have coaches. I didn't have people that could help. And I just believe that if you've been called to business or to entrepreneurship, you've been called to bigger things, and you have so much more opportunity than just working a job. And so I want to help people really play that bigger game, do more with their business, and be able to just really have an incredible life and make a great impact as well. When you can make a lot more money in your business and you're successful and you're not worried about where your next client or dime is going to come from, you can give back in so many more ways. And so that's just really my mission.
Thanks for sharing. So I would say it's fair to say that you're the coach of the coaches and experts, right?
I am. I do also work with business owners. So I work mostly in the professional space. So I work with people who are experts at what they do, or they're elite at what they do, but maybe they just don't have the business getting to the levels that they want. So I can help them take their business to their first million, or help them either or add a million or even more. So I worked with businesses where we've added millions of dollars to their business in as little as 12 months, not making any income claims there. But I'm just really passionate about helping people that are in professional businesses. That's really where my sweet spot is.
Tell us more about building business with your expertise. I think, I wasn't ready to get out of my comfort zone, but Anne actually said, you should be an expert teaching people with promotional product. I remember our first conversation like this, and I wasn't comfortable with that. But for a lot of us, we have an expertise. We have something that people
Mhm.
always say, wow, can you do that for us? Can you teach us for that? But a lot of times when we actually took that as a profession, we found out that, like, you set the fitness industry as an example, right? There's a lot of influencer. There's a lot of really great coaches out there who can teach people how to stay healthy or how to build muscle, things that they do. But they feel that by being out there, actually a profession, is really hard to do. So can you walk us through some of the process that you will uh, tell your clients to build a business around your expertise and get paid?
Yes, absolutely. Well, we are in a world now where coaches and consultants are so valuable. In fact, it's a multi-billion-dollar a year industry for each of those. And we're in, the sort of the information age, right? But the problem with that is there's so much information. It's like, how do you decipher it? How do you know what you should be implementing? How are you staying on course? And so I love to help people that they really are good at what they do. They're experts at what they do. There's this old saying, I don't know who came up with it, but it was learn, do, teach. So teaching is kind of like the ultimate opportunity to be able to have more value to the market and even make more money. So when you're learning, right, you're in that phase of learning, you're only going to make so much. But when you're doing it, now you're going to make more money. But when you're teaching it, that's the ultimate. So I learned that years ago, and I see a lot of people that say, I think I want to become a coach or a consultant, but I am going to go learn this thing. And I just feel like that is just the wrong path, because it's a slow path. I shouldn't say it's wrong. It's very slow. But if you can take what you're already great at doing, what you've already proven that you have had success in, and you package that up and you help other people learn what you have learned, the hard knocks, right? And you help them, and you can help them speed their success. That is your opportunity. That's your biggest opportunity. The other thing is, it also gives you confidence, because, for example, when I came into wanting to work with businesses, and when I first started my coaching business, I was working with small business owners, plumbing companies, roofers, contractors, retail shops, all types of businesses. And the reason I wanted to help them is because I realized very quickly that I had done a lot of things that they had not done. And so now I could be more valuable, and I could help them, and I could help them have better results and not have all the pitfalls and the mistakes. And so I went into what I already knew. But a lot of people don't do that, Swire. They're out there looking for what they're going to coach on, or they're taking some sort of a certification. And I was already confident in my skill set. And I just remember my first client, I said, it was a friend that was in business. And I said, I'm thinking about becoming a business coach, but I want to see if I really know what I'm doing for someone else. Like,
Mm.
I knew what I was doing for myself, but I want to see if I can help you. And I didn't charge her a whole lot. And she said, absolutely. But I knew what to do the minute I got in there and saw her business. And she ran a 300% increase. Now, this was a lot of years ago,
Wow.
15 years
Mhm.
ago, 14 years ago, but she ran a 300% increase in the first week. And I thought, okay, I know what I'm doing here. And so then it was a matter of just learning how to build the business
Mm.
that I was in. I didn't have to learn my skill set. I didn't have to learn my expertise. And so when you don't have to learn what you're going to be selling, you can just learn how you just have to learn the business side of it, the marketing, the sales, the pieces that go into business. It's going to be much faster and you're going to have a lot more confidence because you know what you're doing. When you're trying to learn everything new, it's just too much for most people and they burn out or they never get the traction.
I think one of the hardest part, especially for highly educated expert or maybe one that are really good in the field, is obviously they have the expertise. They might even know how to teach already. But then when they make that as their profession, now you're talking about sales, you're talking about customer service, you have to do QuickBooks maybe, or maybe you have to hire people. So these are something that they have not figured out. So, and then what they have is they sell their time, right? So the value, the most valuable thing that they have is the time. You can make more time. You could do other things, but you only have so many times that they weren't able to make enough profit, so to speak, right?
Right.
So to make that profitable, so uh were you able to help them and identify each of your client? Maybe they're already good at what they do at the skill level, but then they really need help on maybe marketing, maybe even as simple as doing a website, right? So you as a consultant, then you see all of that and you help them to the road to success, correct?
Yes, so I really like to call myself an A to Z coach. One of the mistakes I see when people decide to get into coaching or consulting is they piecemeal their business together. They're out looking for the next thing and then the next thing and then the next thing. And the problem with that is a lot of the strategies and things that they're being taught might not be right. They maybe don't have the right revenue model. And so even if those marketing strategies work for them, they're still not going to make the money that they want. And one of the things that makes me very different is because of the depth of experience and expertise that I have working with hundreds and hundreds of people, building businesses for myself, and really working in over 80 different industries, is I have a lot of depth to my knowledge and to my skill set. And a lot of business coaches or people that are helping people with businesses might not really have that. They might know how to do one thing really well, but is that the right thing for that particular client? And often I find it's not. Often I find that there's a disconnect in their strategies. They don't have the right business model to even hit the goals that they dream about hitting. There's all of these gaps. And so what I like to do when I work with someone is I like to look at the whole picture. What is it your expertise and skill set is? How can we put all of that value together? I like to call it your $1 million offer. How
Mhm.
can we put all of that into a $1 million offer for you? And then package that, market that, sell that, and then how do you scale that? So I do everything from I work mostly with people who are ready to scale and grow and they want better clients. They want to be at the top of their market. Excuse me. They want to go bigger in their business. But I do also work with people that are in the startup phase if they come with expertise, skills, knowledge, and they understand entrepreneurship and they're really all in to build something. So those would be my startup clients. But most often I help people take what they're already doing, make it so much better, and continue to grow their business.
Thank you, sir. So I don't know if it is a most frequently asked question. I'm sure that this will be one of the most frequently asked question from your client is how do coaches or consultants set their hourly rate or their consulting fee, right? It is kind of scary out there. Sometimes people will compare, right, with you and others. So sometimes I feel like people setting their bar too low and end
Mhm.
up they do all their wonderful work and they not end up getting paid. How do you see in the client? So at your level with your reach right now, this is probably what you can support, and when you get to the next milestone, then you could probably charge way more because right now in the market, even for business consulting, there are people who do it for free, right?
Mhm.
You go in for free, they help you, things like that. But they also consultant that charge millions and millions of dollars, and then
Yes.
they will turn away customer. So it's really two sides of the spectrum. And
Mhm.
what's your opinion for setting the right price for your services?
Yes, so I teach my clients how to build the value and then price by value. So there are several different ways that you can price, and this is a strategy that really it has to be, and this is where expertise comes in, is what is going to be the right way for you to price. with who you're working with, the market that you're working with.
Mm,
But one of the things that I will say is that pricing by the hour is absolutely a broken business model, and you should never, never, never do it.
mm,
I do not agree with that model at all, because it really is just going to keep you, number one, it really isn't a viable business to do that. And number two, you're going to lose a lot of money. You're leaving a lot of money on the table when you are pricing by the hour. So you don't want to be a commodity. You do not
mm,
want to be looked at as a commodity. Like, okay, do I want the Walmart business coach, or do I want the, the Saks Fifth Avenue business coach? You want to be able to price by the value that you provide. So for example, if I'm helping people get really high end clients, which is what my whole business model is around, $100,000, $200,000. I have a client that just closed a $400,000 sale. If I'm helping them do that, what could I charge for that that would be realistic?
mm,
Well, I mean, the answer is, you can decide what the answer is, but that would be value pricing. That would be based on value. So that's one way to price. The other way to price, though, is just to set a price that is at the top of market value, and then pull in the right clients for that. But make sure that your pricing will hit your goals without too much volume. So I teach people how to build, who want to get to that $1 million, but they want to get there with a handful of clients, not a million clients, not a
yeah.
million clients at $1. And so, it's just a different business model. It's a higher caliber business model, but you have to really decide what's right for you. I'm not here to say what's right for someone, but I do want to show them the opportunity and what they actually can achieve and can accomplish. And if you're never exposed to the fact that there are $1 million clients out there,
Mhm.
that people are paying coaches and consultants $1 million or $500,000 to work with them, $100,000 offers are not out of line at all. They're everywhere. If you don't understand that that's a possibility, then you're never going to be playing in that market. And so I like to show people, I mean, I have a mindset coach that went from $1,700, charging $1,700, to getting $50,000 clients.
Wow. Okay.
And that's a big jump, right? That's a
Yeah.
big leap, but it was just who she was targeting and how she had it packaged, and all the things that we've kind of talked about.
I think finding your right target audience is key to success, right? So you are who you are, right? So that you obviously build on your expertise, but aligning yourself with the right people who will pay. Would you rather align yourself with people who will pay top price for your service, or people
Mhm.
nickel and dime you and then end up not hiring you? Or even
Exactly.
the worst way is you hiring them and then you're scratching your head. Why did I choose to work with them? Right?
Yes.
Would you rather be happy and make a lot of money than to have the customer from hell? So it does happen. And then that's where I wanted to bring into LinkedIn. We are live streaming on LinkedIn. We see a lot of expert and also people who are aspiring wanted to be to make it as an expert on LinkedIn. What would be your approach for us, tapping into English? What should we be doing when we log on to LinkedIn?
Oh my gosh, I love LinkedIn. It is a gold mine. That is exactly the wording that I use to tap into the LinkedIn gold mine. Well, you have to determine first what your strategy is going to be. What are you trying to accomplish on LinkedIn? Figure out the end goal. And you can change that goal down the road, but you still need to start with an end goal. So is that to get clients? Is that to get people on your podcast, to build up your podcast? Whatever that is going to be for you, that is the strategy that you need to map out. And so many people don't do this. They get onto LinkedIn and they start throwing stuff out there and they start getting connections, and there's no real strategy for what they're trying to accomplish. And so they end up spending a lot of time on LinkedIn and they don't really get any traction. So if you really want to get traction, you need to set up your profile for exactly who you want, what you want them for, what you want to be known for, and then optimize that profile for those people. You want to build your audience. You want to create thought leader content. You want to make sure that you're making connections with the right people. So you want to consistently be bringing people into your ecosystem. because when you're putting out great content, you're sharing your expertise, and these people are connecting with you because they know that you're for them because your profile is set up that way. That's where you start getting into conversations. That's where you start getting traction. But there's a lot of ways to use LinkedIn. You can fill events, you can fill your podcast. Again, what are going to be your marketing strategies? But also understand on LinkedIn that people do love to, they're there to do business. And there's
Mhm.
no other platform where people are there to do business. We do business on other platforms, but those platforms were not created for us to do business. LinkedIn is the only business platform. And so when people are on there, they realize that they're there to do business. They might be looking for clients, they might be looking for services, they might be looking for a job. There are all kinds of ways to use LinkedIn and to be on LinkedIn.
From your view, working with a lot of different experts in the industry, so at what point would you consider a professional or maybe a consultant or service professional to become the expert of the industry? And is it the ultimate goal that you wanted to have the client to be the expert in their particular field?
Okay, can you just run that question by me one more time?
Like, how would you consider someone an expert?
Mm,
Obviously you have your methodology to
mhm.
bring the client or people who consult with you to be an expert, but for the general population, how what does it make to for us to consider someone, oh, okay, he or she is an expert in the industry?
Yeah. So one of the things that people do is they try to be too many things to too many people,
Mm,
and so getting very specific. Where can you make the biggest impact? Where do you have the most confidence? Where do you know that you can deliver the results? You can make the greatest impact. When you dial that in, that's really where you want to set up sort of that specialty business or that expert business, and then expert basically means somebody said one time, you've done 10,000 hours of something. But if you take a CEO who's been in his career for 20 or 30 years, he's already an expert at business, at running teams, at
mhm.
whatever that is. So then figure out, how do you want to take that skill set, that knowledge, that experience, and package that up and build a core business around that. But again, utilize things that you already know to do. When you do that, most people are an expert at something. You might be an expert at being a mom. You might be an expert at relationships. I've been married 43 years. I would say that makes me an expert
You
at
are.
marriage,
Yes.
right? I could be
Mhm.
a marriage
Yes.
coach. I don't want to do that, but I could. And so if you really think about the skill sets and the things that people bring to the table, people have an expertise typically in something
Mm.
that they could be, selling and building a business around. Again, some things are going to be more viable, obviously, as a business than other things. But um, most people are an expert at something. They're just not thinking about it that way.
Yeah, I really like what you're getting on, to become an expert. So for listener, and so what would you advise? Are there questions or are there things that we could do while we're listening to trying to see pinpoint our expertise? And wow, I'm really good at this, and maybe I should really consider, to become a professional for
Mhm.
doing what I like to do.
Yes, I think one thing to really think about is, where have you had real success? So, what have you done, whether that be in a job, a career, um, as a coach, as a consultant, as a professional? Where have you had success? Where have you, if you look at all the areas of your life or your business or your job, what have been the things that have stood out to you? The other thing is to think about, what do other people say about you that you have not even thought, oh, wow, that I've really got some value there. So a good example of this is, I've been a speaker for 40 something years, but even as a kid, I was in front of audiences. I was in the lead in a school play. I was a cheerleader. So I was always out in front of audiences and people. And I didn't even realize, and I did speech contest, and I didn't even realize that those were skill sets that I would now be utilizing in my business. And people say, you're really good at being in front of audiences and you're really good on stages. So, and I'm just using that as an example. So if I wanted to probably teach people, and actually it is part of my strategy, but if I wanted to teach people how to get on podcasts and get on stages and all of those things are very natural for me because I've done really well with those things. So look at where you've had success. Look at what other people are telling you you're good at. Look at, again, just kind of sit and think about that. And then what are the things that you love that feel very natural for you, that you feel talented and you feel natural and you have this confidence about you? There's probably a business sitting in there.
Yeah, you make me think about a lot of things, and like, should I change profession now? Like, there are a lot of things that I think I'm good at, but
Mhm.
obviously I'm not getting paid for it. But I think the key also is not to go into too many expertise at the same time. Like, you would suggest
One
we will
thing.
be laser focused on that
Yes.
exact expertise.
Yes, one thing there's a saying, one audience, one offer, one marketing strategy. You have to go in 1 year, go in on all of those things before you start spreading yourself too thin. Too many people are trying to do too many things, and they're trying to sell too many. I see this a lot. They're selling all these courses. Every time you turn around, they've got a new course. But the problem with that is they're not making much money with each of those courses, and so they're just killing themselves really to try to get some sales here and there. And I'm not saying that's not one way to build a business, but for me, I think it's the hard way. What if you took all of those things that you're good at and you built something around that? So if you're selling yourself one way, you have one message, you have one market, and you're selling yourself one way, and you can become known for that. Like, you can go search me everywhere, Swire, and you are going to see that I'm a business coach, a consultant who helps people get high caliber clients, build their business with high caliber clients. That message is out there everywhere. I am known for that in this industry. And so it makes it so much easier for you to sell your services, but it also builds the credibility that's what makes you be seen as an expert. You don't look like a jack of all trades. You're not out there like a shotgun blast, trying to sell, so many things that people are like, I have no idea, really what you're really very good at. None of those things build credibility. So get very specific, dialed in, and go all in on it. And you'll become even better at it. You might be great at it now, but if you focus is the key. If you focus on one thing and you just continue to make that better and better and better, you'll be unstoppable. There will not be anyone that can touch you.
Yeah, I think one way, we talked about that already, is to find the ideal client. Sometimes when I talk to a professional who are about to start the business, or say we don't have any clients, right? We're struggling. Then I'll even ask them to dream of a ideal clients who will pay premium price for your product and services. Like, who are they? The more that you can know about who they are,
Mhm.
that answer a lot of questions, right? They'll answer, where do they hang out? What platform do they use? What kind of marketing strategies that you
Mhm.
have to be, and what kind of really the tone, right, on your website, on your marketing material. Because with different strategy, it attract different type of people, like what you're saying.
Correct.
And you could be the same you, but if you change your mindset and who you're targeting, then you get those people to come along and notice you. Like, so which side do you want to pick? And you can't pick everyone, right? And
Right.
really everyone, you cannot say everyone when people ask you, like, who do you want to target, and that's something wrong.
Right, exactly. And one of the things I see over and over again is people who are brilliant and they're amazing, but they're not charging what they could be because
Mm.
they have fallen into some of the low ticket strategies, and or maybe they're charging $3,000 for something they could be charging 30,000 or 300,000. I see that a lot, and it's because they just really haven't maybe stepped into the higher end of the market they're playing in. One of the things that I like to do is get people into what I call the blue ocean, get them into the top 10% of their industry, working with top tier clients, not low tier clients, not now mid tier. So the way I teach people is a top-down approach. So you go high first, you work that, and then you can always downsell people. Most people teach the opposite. Start low and then try to upsell people. So I have flipped that. And when you do that, you've got different layers to your business where you can close clients, but you're selling yourself for premium first. And that puts you in a very different light. It gives you different positioning in the market. When people get on calls with me, they already know that I'm not a $47 coach. They already know that I'm not, that I'm not a low price coach, because I know the results that I get for people and I know
Mhm.
what I'm capable of helping them get. And so, there's going to be an investment for that. But they already know that. They know that based on my marketing and all of that. But it's because I work in that market. I talk about it. And that's what I love to teach people to do too, is take that expertise and get those top tier clients, not the low tier. Get out of the shark infested waters. That's where you're really competing. You're not competing at the top.
So, what are some ways, if it even available to us, to learn or even try to copy what the top 10 or top 1% of the expert in our industry are doing? Because I really like what you're saying. So in my line of work, right, I find promotional product for the client. So
Mhm.
sometimes I get upset because they find and they don't buy, and then I actually read on magazines or in a couple of the top tiers distributor in our industry. I learned that they not only they won't quote everyone, they charge a retainer, sometimes $millions,
Mhm.
just to get you in. And then whatever that you do is on top of that. So, but obviously they align with the right client. So with the right
Right.
client, they're willing to pay the premium. So how would you suggest we maybe network or using LinkedIn to learn from the top producers in our industry?
hmm Well, I think it's really easy to do nowadays because you can see what people are doing.
Hmm.
It's so easy to go out there and search people and see what people at the top are doing. When people, for example, they say, "Ann, you're everywhere." You're like, I had somebody one day, I was on this podcast and he goes, "We have a celebrity here." And I had to laugh because I'm as far from a celebrity as anyone could be. But the thing is, this is important for people to know, is my marketing is working, that he would even have that perception, right? So, but in a niche, you actually can build, you can be like a micro influencer in a niche, but go and look at what the top of your industry is doing and model them. Don't copy them. That's
Hmm.
not expert, but model them, model what they're doing. So, the way that I learned a lot about how I market my business and what I do, and even what I help my clients do, is because I always keeping my eye on the people that are at the top of the industry. What are they doing well, and what don't I want to do? What don't I want to be known for? And so it's really easy to see that these days, to see what people are doing. We didn't always have that option, but with social media, with online, with digital, we have that option to see.
I think you touched on a really good point. What are you known for? Like, if you really known for one thing, and one thing, like when people say that category, you're number one, then you're already really successful, right? I could say just anything. If you be known for the expert for your field, then you already build up to the highest top 1% of the expert. So for listener who are expert, who are aspiring, want to be expert, and coaches and service professional, what would be the good way to reach out to you and to learn more about, how they can elevate their profession?
Yes, you can go to my website at annlcarden.com, and I have a mastermind program, and I really love this program because I only take 6 per group. So it's not a group where you're in there with 100 people. It's very high touch. It's as close to private coaching and small group as you can get. But that mastermind is to really help you accelerate to that $1 million or at $1 million. And you can go to annlcarden.com/mastermind. Check that out. It is very high end, very high touch. It will absolutely change the game for you. if you're looking to really get someone who has a lot of depth and experience and expertise to look at your business and what you're doing and help you with the best game plan, and then give you the support and the guidance all along the way to really hit your big goals.
Thank you so much. And if you're listening to this episode, I'll put the link on the show notes. And really, and you opened my mind today, and I learned a lot from you.
Thank you so much, Swire. This was fun. It was a pleasure to be here with you.
Take care.
Thank you.